Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about the Skyhunter. I just finished the build, basically just getting it dialed in, making sure everything works properly. So let's get started. So I've done pretty extensive modifications on this airplane. Things including the winglets, I made those and they actually have an airfoil shape to them. If you guys want some, I can make some for you and send them to you. Or if you want to build your own, just let me know. I'll send you the measurements and everything. They work amazing. This is actually version 3 of the winglets that I built, because the previous versions were smaller. Previous versions were a little bit bigger. So version 3 here is a whole lot better in regards to efficiency and performance, and decrease in drag, and increase in stability while slope flying, or when you're coming into land. You don't have the wings don't rock as bad, and it actually helps a lot in landing. So basically, the whole airplane is covered in 3mm, I think it's 3mm laminate. You can buy, I can't remember the website, but you can buy a huge roll of it for like $35–40, and it'll last you a lifetime. So I covered the whole airplane with that. First I painted it to a silver color, and I added blue and black on there to help with the telling which way is, what's the bottom, to figure out what the bottom of the airplane and the top of the airplane is while you're flying through the air. Lights, I installed landing lights. They're the Flytron V2s, and on the wingtips are the Flytron extra large nav and strobe. I'm also running a Dragon Link 433 megahertz transmitter. I'm going to grab the camera, and so you guys can take a look here more closely. So I had this little mount lying around, and it used to hold a monitor, and this thing used to be velcroed to the back of this right here, and it stuck out straight up. Now when I do somewhat long distance flying, I always had to hold my transmitter up like this and fly, because you don't get very good signal like this on a dipole antenna. So I wanted something that I could rotate independently of the transmitter, so I can relax and fly without having to stick my transmitter in the air. And so I created this little mechanism, and it sits it straight up in the air. I know it looks kind of funky, but hey, it works. And plus, it's away from all the other electronics back here. So I'm not sure. I doubt it has any problem with that. But I'm also running the 433. I think it's a notch filter for 433, and I think it filters out. I can't remember what harmonic, but anyways. So here's the flight controller. Basically, I mounted it with the servo tape. This is my 3 amp SBEC or SBEC, switching BEC, and I have that running into my power leads of my PSU, and I got the Dean's connector one here for my input for the PSU. On the SBEC, I'm running my lights and all my servos on the airplane, so if my motor dies or my ESC fails, I'm not going to lose my airplane. I can at least control the airplane and try and get it back safely. Here, I know y'all probably think this is funny that I did this, but basically what this is for is just basically like a little plastic straw. It's actually kind of like one of these that come with their Dragon Link transmitter. So basically what I did is I drilled a hole, take a drill bit, about the size of this. Probably a little bit smaller, so that way it fits in there nice and tight. And I drill it all the way through, and on the other side, I put a little hot glue on that side, and then kind of put hot glue on the extra straw, pushed it in, and kind of took the hot glue and cleaned it around and everything. And this straw here, when the camera sits on top, and when you're looking around, now the problem with this type of camera is when you're looking around, it's continuous. Like, there is no center point. So whatever transmitter input I do, so if I go left and I let go, it's not going to return to center. So what I have built in there is a reference point. So this is my reference point, and it sticks out just enough, and I see probably about that much in the camera lens when I'm looking all the way down. So I pitch the camera all the way down, I can see that in my view. So I know that that is the nose of the airplane. Because one day I was flying without that, and my camera was like this, and I was like, oh my word, I have such a bad crosswind. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, that's my camera. It is tilted to the left. And so that's why I put that in there to help. The Pitot system, or the Pitot tube, basically how I did this is I just cut a little line. This is actually 3D printed Pitot tube holder. It's connected with the static line, which is the far end one right here in your RAM area input. And basically the zip ties hold on the tube, and inside I have routed my Pitot tube right in there, as you can see. And basically I kind of channeled all this out here and wired it all the way towards the back end. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the airspeed module is back there. On the bottom here, what I did is I epoxied and I put a piece of plywood down there, a piece of balsa wood, and secured it down there with epoxy. 30-minute epoxy will be fine. You could do 15 or whatever you want to do, but 30 is what I usually use. It's very good. And I use industrial strength Velcro to hold in the battery, and then I just use these straps to strap it in, and it's not gonna come out. And I built this bulkhead here, and I built a landing gear for it. This landing gear, you can actually get it online. I found a website that you can get them at, and they're very, very nice landing gear. The rudder servo is here. I just used a little SV80 Park Zone servo. Just a servo I had laying around. It didn't get used, so I might as well put it to use, right? So this hole here is where the light for the nose wheel light goes to, and on the bottom it connects down here, and the wire comes back, and there's a little coil spring that provides shock to the front landing gear, and I put that light, and I attached it with zip ties and some servo tape to that spring. And as I move my rudder left and right, the light also moves left and right. So I can shine the light, or when I'm taxiing, I can shine the light and shine all the way to the left or to the right or wherever. So it's very, very nice for flying at night, especially. Very high visibility. I highly recommend these lights. I'm running, I think they're 95 or 100 degree field of view lens. These are the Flytron V2s that I'm running, and you can change and program them to strobe, to kind of like do a slow beacon. You can make them shine solid, whatever you want. So I mounted the GPS, or the magnetometer, up here, the V2. This one is the newest version that Eagle Tree has. Winglets, sorry, so I'm going to talk about the winglets. So these winglets are made out of balsa wood, and basically I have created an airfoiled shape to kind of reduce the drag, because if this was flat, it'd be producing quite a bit of drag, so I kind of streamlined it a lot better. And I took some, I can't remember what you call them, but basically they're little nut plates that you can just stick into the foam, and I CA'd them, and then you can screw this and unscrew it and unscrew it and take them off if you want to. And I drilled separate holes for the Flytron navigation strobe. On the tail boom here, basically just took some painter's tape and just taped it up, spiraled it up like that, and spray painted, so it looks pretty cool. On the vertical stabilizers, I highly suggest, if any of y'all are going to be building an aircraft like this, or a Skyhunter, do put carbon fiber rod in the vertical stabilizer on both of them. It will increase the strength of the vertical stabilizer, because if you're going at high speed, these things will come off, and they're only glued on right here at one point. So I mean, that's the only thing, a point of contact. So basically I took an X-Acto knife, cut out a channel, and I put glue down here as well, so that way it has another point of contact. So that way, I mean, that sucker's not coming off now. And I did the same on the other side, as you can see over here. And I just channeled that down, and when you put CA in it, I put CA in it first, put in the flat piece of carbon fiber. Now, use the flat piece of carbon fiber. Do not use the round stuff, because it won't be as neat. I mean, you can, but you're gonna be probably digging into the actual foam. And there's not much foam to dig into, so I tend to stay with the flat carbon fiber spar in the vertical stabilizers to increase the strength. The LRS system, I ran, I think it's 125 centimeters, is the length of the receiver antenna for the Dragon Link, and it's going inside the airplane, going through here, going straight down in. On the other side, let me move my laptop here. Alright, so on this side, I created this little hatch so I can access all my electronics and wiring and zip ties. Please use zip ties. I mean, they are a huge help. They will keep your wires untangled, and it'll keep your wires in order, so you'll know which goes where, because it gets really nasty in there if you don't. Velcro works good. Servo tape works great. The receiver, actually, the Dragon Link receiver is velcroed at the very, very top up here. You can't really see it because there's my little shelf here, but basically it's through that hole, and it's actually secured to the top of the wing, so it sits up there, so it's free, so it won't get stuck or anything. The other modification I want to talk about is this. So this is the Propan V1 360 degree continuous rotation servo, and I can't remember what kind of ratio, or gear ratio it has, but basically it allows you to look 360 degrees continuously. And the wiring that I set up in it, let me turn it over here. See that little circular black thing there? Basically there's two wires coming out of that. So you have three my You have your positive, your ground, and your video for your camera. And then you have for my tilt servo, I basically created another connection to that. So that's another 3 wires. So that's 6 wires total. And they go through that little circular mechanism. And basically there's a copper, kind of like a copper board with those wires pressed down on it. So like you can turn this thing as many times as you want, and you don't have to worry about getting your wires tangled. Drewman RC, I'd like to thank Drewman RC for that modification. He let me know about it, and so I wanted to do it. And so he sent me the link to the part for it, and so I did the modification, and man, it is a huge help, and I don't have to worry about getting my wires tangled up at all. Oh, the servos, I'm running the Emax ES. I don't know if you can see them, but they're ES 08 MA2s analog servos, and they're all Metal Gear. I highly suggest you put Metal Gear servos in the Skyhunter. I've tried the regular plastic analog servos. They don't really perform. I mean, yeah, you can fly it that way, but I do not want, like, I actually put a plastic gear servo as HS81s, I believe. They're the plastic ones is below the 82s, because the 82s were Metal Gear, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's right. And I stripped out 3 of them, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? So come to find out, my control surface down here, my control arm and push rod and all, I didn't have this there before, and every time I would land, the grass or whatever I was hitting on the ground would strip out the gear right here. So what I did, I said, I'm going to fix that for the 4th time. And so I put a Metal Gear servo in it, which I should have done from the start. And then I put this little piece of foam here to protect this arm, so this thing can move back and forth and not get, hit by like asphalt. So this will protect, this will rub on the asphalt, and this won't hit the asphalt and destroy my whole thing. The other option I considered doing was switching this to the top. So instead of having the servo down here, put it on top and put the control arm and the push rod and whatever on top, so that way then it definitely won't hit the ground. The motor, I'm running a 780 kV motor by Cobra. It's a 14 pole motor, and basically it has a lot of power. I'm running a 14x7 prop, and I was going for more efficiency. That's why I'm running such a bigger prop than I know people are running like 12x6 and stuff like that. But 14.7 performs really, really well. That I found out. I'm running a 80 amp ESC by Cobra, and that is actually Velcroed on the other side, right here. But that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, the tilt servo. The tilt servo actually comes with the propane V1. The version 2 that they came out, it does have a return to center, so you can move the rudder all the way to the left or to the right. It'll always go back to center, and it's 180. So if the camera is facing this way and you push it all the way back, it's gonna stay here. It's not gonna go any further. You have to go the other way around to look the other way, so it's not constant. So that's the end of part 1.